I wake up in a dimly lit room that smells of iron, and around me I hear sobbing and whining. My head is pounding, and my mouth feels dry, but I look around for any indication of where I am. When I realize where I am, my stomach sinks. I look more closely at myself and notice chains around my legs, and that I'm sitting in a cage. As a feeling of dread washes over me, I hear hoofsteps approach. Well, well, well. It would appear as though you are awake, Veld. A familiar voice says with a chuckle. It is a pity that you just had to snoop into our affairs. And after I defeated you and your friends, when you were on your little escapades into the mines. Well, I do suppose that you are always a smart one, though I do suppose that is partially I am to blame for this one. After all, I didn't give these ponies any anesthetic. What? You can't very well blame me, can you? Who would waste the precious resources on mere experiments? They are what vermin that will die eventually. He looks at me pitifully for a moment. Ah, but you are probably wondering what is going on. Well, Veld, you were right. You and your little Society of Slumber Club? The conspiracy! Oh no, we have all had dreams, and there must be something going on. Well, right you were. What, mere children couldn't have found that out. No, no. We are too careful, which is why you are here now, Veld. Anyone who finds out about us must be taken care of. I open my mouth to speak, but no words come out. Ah, you wish to speak? I guess your mouth must be quite dry. Here, drink this water, he says as he pours some water into a bowl inside of my cage. While it would be a waste to use the medicine on you, food and water are very important. After all, we want you to live as long as possible. I drink the water and try to speak again. What are you doing this for? I ask him in a raspy voice. You know, Veld, I don't usually share information with those who will die soon. But for you, I will make an exception. After all, we worked together. You see, Veld, my queen, the most beautiful and powerful being in this world, wishes to find the weaknesses of you ponies. For years, our kind has been forced into hiding, but no more. My queen declared that we would rule this world and all in it. But first, we had to plan. We had to research. For you see, we have been away for way too long. We have grown ignorant of the pony ways. His mouth grows into a large smile as he continues to talk. My queen had the most brilliant of ideas. We could create a city, hide in plain sight, and take the unsuspecting from their homes and bring them here. Here to our beautiful fake city atop our true home. He pauses for a moment, giving me time to ask. The mines, you mean? He lets out a laugh. Very good, Veld, very good. I would expect nothing less from you. Yes, the mines are our true home. Deep, deep down into the mines, deeper than any you could ever have gotten. That is where our colony lies, away from the prying eyes of the world. What are you? I ask. He laughs once more, saying, We are the things that you ponies have tried to eradicate from the face of the world many, many times. We are the things that your legends tell of when they mention the shape-shifting creatures that prey on the unsuspecting. We are what you pony folk call the changelings. The beings that can transform into anything so long as we have seen it. He smiles proudly after stating this. Then, the dreams. We were right? I ask. Well, almost. The dreams were not dreams. They were reality that we wanted you to forget. But you ponies are persistent and managed to remember, he says. Then, my parents. All of our parents. He cuts me off. Yes, that is correct. Dead long, long ago. Killed so that we could take you foals to our city. Of course, we have had to place your parents with our own soldiers. They just had to change their shape and suck the blood out of your parents to gain their memories and know their personalities. And you children have no idea that the change ever took place. He laughs once more. But why? I shout at him. Why go that far? His smile disappears. I have told you that already. We needed to research. We know our enemy. But this, the experiments, they were all my idea. My queen put me in charge of finding a way to combat the ponies. You see, the ponies outnumber us by quite a lot. We needed a way to kill as many as we could, and I suggested that we find out what diseases work the best on them. But surely someone noticed, right? These ponies locked up with me, missing? I ask. Oh, Veld, you still haven't figured it out yet, have you? All of the children in this city are ponies. All of their parents are changelings. There are no adult ponies in this town, aside from the few individuals who found us and moved here themselves. Of course, they were swiftly removed. And the best part? They have no idea. And when we take a child for testing, we simply have their parents pretend to move away. Nothing suspicious then, right? No one truly disappears. Your replacement parents will be moving away today as well. So, you replace our parents, move us here, and then have our parents move away once you capture us. And then you experiment on us? You monsters! I scream at him. Dr. Arts just smiles broadly and says, Not just Venveld. We will experiment on them for the entire time they are here. Even you helped me out with the experiments, he declares. What? I did no such thing. All I did was help ponies, I retort. Oh, Veld, you think that you were helping them? The medicine that you gave them was laced with new diseases. It would cure their current illnesses while giving them a new one. He broke out into laughter once again. I was speechless, unable to think of anything else to say to the monster before me. Oh no, did I break you, Veld? Come, asking us a question, he says playfully. I look at him and say, What are you going to do to me now? His smile disappears. Veld, that question is no fun. But since you ask, I will tell you. I will keep you here, fed, hydrated, and diseased. You will become my newest guinea pig. I do hope that you last longer than the other ones. Besides, I do enjoy our little chats." He laughs once more as I slide against my cage, as my anger dwindles into hopelessness. As he continues to laugh, a door opens, and more hoof steps approach. Careful, measured hoof steps. Now, Doctor." A sweet-sounding voice calls out, "Don't torture the poor thing with your babbling. You might kill it with boredom. Then where will you be? Back digging tunnels, if you're not careful." The doctor's laughter stops when he hears the voice. A few moments later, I see the figure that the voice belongs to. A black figure with blue insect-like wings, sharp fangs, a teal mane that reaches down to half the height of her neck, holes in her limbs, a long horn, and a crown upon her head. The doctor takes a step back and bows to the figure as he says, "My queen, I did not expect you here. I would have cleaned up a bit, and I—" The queen cuts him off with a wave of her hoof. "I heard you ran into an issue up here. I came to see to it, personally. I take it this creature was the issue?" she asks. The doctor nods his head. "Hello there, creature. What is your name?" she asks. "Feld," I reply. "Feld," she says. "I'm glad that we could add you to the ranks of our experiments. I am Queen Lavari, Queen of the Changelings, a title that I inherited from my mother when I devoured her, and a title one of my daughters will inherit when she devours me. But that is some time off. I'm nowhere near as weak as my mother was, which is why I will conquer this world. When your kind is enslaved beneath my hoof, I'll make sure that your name is remembered, along with all others who aided in our victory." "What? I'll never aid you monsters!" I yell at her. "Why, you insolent—" the doctor begins, but Queen Lavari cuts him off. "Oh, but you will, and you already have. And you will continue to do so, as the doctor here continues to experiment on you and find out just how to exterminate your kind. So, I have an order for you. While I'm not your queen, and you owe me no allegiance, I ask that you follow it. I order you to live as long as you can, suffer countless diseases, and help my doctor find how to best kill your kind." She laughs slightly as she begins to walk away towards the door she came from. As she reaches the door, she turns towards the doctor with some parting words. "Remember, doctor, I expect results. If you fail me, I will force you into the tunnels myself, where you will dig for the rest of your life." The doctor winces, and Queen Lavari exits the room. The doctor then turns to me and says, "Well, you heard the queen. We have work to do, you and me." He begins to laugh once more as he lifts a tray filled with syringes. "Don't worry, Veld. The such will not hurt. It is the diseases that will cause the pain." For the next few weeks, the doctor talks with me while injecting me with various diseases. He starts with simple sicknesses like the common cold, and I deal with coughing, snot, and a fever for a majority of the time. At one point, I'm puking off and on for about a week straight. During this period, I'm severely dehydrated, and the doctor hooks me up to an IV to prevent me from dying from it. Now, Veld, we can't have you dying now, can we?" he says with a smirk. By this point, I've stopped talking to him at all, and only stare daggers at him. However, this doesn't dissuade him from talking to me, nor from acting as though I am talking back to him. He makes up entire conversations doing this, and it is like hearing half of a conversation. I'm honestly not sure if he's doing it to mess with me, or if he's actually insane at this point. "So, Veld, how are you feeling?" he asks. After a few moments, he laughs and says, "Well, that is too bad. We'll have to fix that." He injects me with another syringe and says, "This will cure your current illnesses. But it will cause some new ones, too." He jots down some notes and says, "Well, that is it for you today, Veld. But I cannot wait for our next conversation." He then moves to another pony and begins prodding at them and seeing how their illnesses have progressed. They scream and cower in fear, but the doctor doesn't say much to them. In fact, he treats them almost as if they aren't alive. This process continues for a few days as my symptoms disappear and new ones show up. And this time I get irritating rashes all over my body. The more I move, the more it hurts. So I just try to sleep as much as possible. And when I'm awake, I don't move much. However, the doctor seems to take some sick joy in poking and prodding me to see how I react. After a few days of this sickness, he injects me with something else. "Just some cures this time, Veld. We want you to be perfectly healthy for the next part. But of course, I will keep the sedatives going to prevent you from using your magic." The rash begins to go away, and I start to gain my strength back. But, just like the doctor said, he keeps giving me sedatives to prevent my magic use. Once I get my normal health back, the doctor grins broadly at me as he says, "Looks like it is time. Veld, I have waited so long for this day. These other things, they aren't worthy of this experiment. But I felt as though you deserve a break." He injects me with another syringe and continues to explain. "This is a shot of adrenaline. It will prevent you from sleeping, and you will be wide awake. You see, this experiment is going to see how the prolonged effects of sleep deprivation on your kind. I will be keeping an eye on you very closely to make sure that you don't sleep." He turns as though to walk away, but turns back to me. "No, Veld, you have no need to worry. You are in no danger. I will, of course, ensure that you live. We don't want to kill you, do we?" He turns around once again and walks across the room to where a chair is at. He grabs the chair and drags it across the room towards me, while he says, "I know what you are thinking. Why don't I just use my magic? Well, it is less dramatic that way, and I do enjoy the dramatic." He continues dragging the chair, causing loud screeching noises, and causing me and the other ponies to cringe and try and cover our ears. Finally, he gets the chair in front of my cage and sits upon it. He begins to talk to me, but I tune most of it out. Most of what he says has to do with the experiments that he's doing on the other ones down here. Basically just listing off all of his notes that he's taken. At one point, my mind fades back into the conversation he's having. "But you know, I will try to keep you as company for as long as I can. You see, I like to have a kind of conversation with you. Since I am a doctor, that is why..." He pulls out a syringe and stabs it into himself before injecting it into him. "Some adrenaline for me as well." After he does this, he continues to talk about his experiments. The hours go by, and he gives me another shot of adrenaline, as well as himself. And this process continues for about a day. He has just been talking to me the whole time, rarely moving from his chair. At this point, however, he announces, "What? No, don't worry, Veld. I have done this numerous times. I do this quite often to myself to pull all-nighters. I have stayed up many nights like this." He continues to talk about the various nights he spent up using adrenaline to conduct various prolonged experiments and other various things until I decide to tune him out and stare at the wall. A few days pass, and my body has begun shaking uncontrollably for quite some time. I've also lost track of time and begin to think that I am seeing things that don't actually exist. Each time I experience something new, the doctor would exclaim and write down some more notes. However, I soon began to not do anything and just stare at the walls due to severe lack of cognitive ability. After a few days of this, with no new discoveries, the doctor decides to end the experiment. He injects me with a sedative, and I drift off into a much-needed slumber.